Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the international webinar series on holistic health, well-being, and sustainable development 2025, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 77 years of independence, and United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030, and Viksit Bharat at 2047. In As part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Art, Sciences and Wellbeing. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's commemorations. Today, this week is commemorated as National Hug Holiday Week from May 7 to 13. Its objective is simple: to envelop your loved ones with warm hugs, if culturally appropriate, and if you have acquaintance or closeness with them. Don't go ahead if you are not comfortable, or if they are not comfortable, you can get into all kinds of troubles, including legal ones. So this week is also a celebration of the intimacy and closeness that we feel in the company of friends and family. Hugs are forms of greetings and farewell, and even when the person is not in front of you, you can send them emojis of hugs. A cute GIF or a sticker can also convey your hug to your friends. Celebrate National Hug Holiday Week by hugging everyone whom you love if it is culturally appropriate and it is okay with them. Today is also commemorated as ACES Day in US, which takes place on first Wednesday in May, that is May 7th this year. Twiddling the video game controller and punching air on TikTok videos or any other Instagram videos or any other social media is the maximum exercise most kids get these days. So Project ACES, in short, known for All Children Exercise Simultaneously Day, aims to change this. In past few decades, there has been a stark rise in obesity among children and young adults. To reverse this trend, people are coming up with unique ideas to instill healthy practices in kids from an early age, as doing any activity with the peers can be fun and adds to the motivation project. ACES Day explores this idea to encourage kids to sweat it out. Today is also commemorated as Beaufort Scale Day on May 7th every year. It has been over a century since the Beaufort scale was invented. The Beaufort scale was invented by an officer of the Royal British Navy named Sir Francis Beaufort. Beaufort devised a simple scale that was used to scale the force of the wind based on a point system that started from 0 to 12. Beaufort scale was created to honor Sir Francis Beaufort for the invention of the Beaufort scale, which is widely used for naval applications. Today is also commemorated as Bladder Cancer Awareness Day, which is observed annually on May 7th. On this day, awareness programs are organized to educate the public about the symptoms, causes, and treatment of this type of cancer. Bladder cancer is the 10th most common cancer globally. In the US, around 57,000 men and 18,000 women are diagnosed with these diseases every year. Needless to say, bladder cancer is a serious concern, and there is a dedicated effort to improve the lives of patients suffering from it. So, bladder cancer often starts in the urothelial cells that line the inside of our bladder, and most tumors develop on the inner layer of the bladder, while some grow into the deeper layers of the organ. Cancer becomes harder to treat as it grows through the layers of the muscle wall. Urothelial cells are also found in the kidneys and the ureterus and the tubes that connect the kidneys to the bladder. This means that the cancer may spread to the kidneys and ureters. However, this doesn't happen as frequently. Although radiological tests provide important information about kidneys and ureters, cytoscopy is the best method of determining whether you have bladder cancer. So today, these diagnosed procedures are performed in urologist clinic with little or no discomfort. So during the cytoscopy, the urologist looks through the cytoscope and keeps an eye out for anything in the bladder that may be abnormal. When diagnosed at an early stage, bladder cancer is highly treatable. It's wise to keep an eye out on symptoms. Symptoms of bladder cancer may be include and are not limited to blood in the urine, painful urination, always an urgent need to urinate, trouble with passing urine, abdominal pain, fatigue, lower back pain, and a loss of appetite. Some individuals may be at a greater risk of developing bladder cancer. Smoking, chemical exposure, causations, old age, family history, and chronic bladder infection are all factors that play a role when it comes to bladder cancer. Men are at greater risk of bladder cancer, however, it is on the rise among women too. Today is also commemorated as Love's Baby Soft Day in US, which is celebrated on May 7th annually if you were a teen in 1980s. A favorite among young girls was Love's Baby Soft. Today, every lifestyle band, top ranking model, notable movie star, and popular influencer have beauty product line. Most of the time, it is difficult to keep up with the plethora of new brands popping up. But until a few days ago, the market was dominated by only few players, and Love's Baby Soft line was one of them. Today is also commemorated as National Anxiety Disorder Screening Day in US. On the first Wednesday in May, this year it takes place on May 7th. This day was first observed in 1993. Its significance is to raise awareness about the importance of people going for anxiety disorder screenings. Anxiety screening is essential for one to find out whether they have anxiety disorders and learn how to treat or manage with conditions. Several online tests screen for anxiety, although it is best to see a doctor for a more detailed examination. The doctor will perform a physical exam and ask for about your symptoms. They will also recommend a blood test which helps determine whether another condition may be causing your symptoms. Today is also commemorated as National Barrier Awareness Day, which is an annual observance that takes place on May 7th to encourage people to break down obstacles responsible for preventing the social integration of persons with disabilities. The day was initiated to dissolve stigmas, keeping people with disabilities from advancing in education, social life, work, and other spheres of life. This day was initiated by President Ronald Reagan, who called upon fellow citizens to observe this day with appropriate programs and activities. Today is also commemorated as National Cosmopolitan Day on May 7th. In the honor of generation defining cocktail served chilled in a tail-mainted martini glass, the natural pink hue of the drink signals the fun times to come on. But be cautious about these beverages. It can destroy you and your family if it is not in control, and anyway, it is not good for health. Today is also commemorated as National Interpreter Appreciation Day in US. On May 7th, it's always observed on the first Wednesday of May. There are about 6,500 languages in the world, and naturally, no one person can learn them all. A person who can speak more than 5 languages is rare and is called polyglot. So, polyglot, thus, interpreters are needed in government offices, hospitals, business, and any organization that will have to deal with people from different linguistic groups or when sign language is needed. Interpreters never have it easy. They have to keep up with the communicators and make sure they pass clear and concise information in real time. So language is complex yet simple form of communication. Most living beings will have a way to communicate with their own kind, sometimes with other species in their ecosystem. Humans are no different. We got the most complex and effective form of communication on Earth. Humans first started using language around 50,000 years ago. Early humans probably used some forms of sign language to communicate, but the modern version was developed around the 17th century. Globalization has made it difficult to work with just one or two languages. There are the business organizations and government bodies that require people to interpret languages for them. Joshua Jones started a Facebook page for interpreters. In 2013, he started the day by celebrating the talent and dedication to the interpreters who work diligently to keep communication always flowing. Today is also commemorated as National Packaging Design Day. On May 7th every year in the United States, it's a special event to recognize the craft of package designs and the design professionals who create them. It encourages people to appreciate the artistry of package design, which has become a very important factor in modern day marketing. In sales, customers assess a product by its package design. It is one activity in the world where the famous maxim, "Don't judge a book by its cover," is completely ignored. Today is also commemorated as National Paste Up Day in US, celebrated every year on May 7th by art and print enthusiasts all around the country. This day is dedicated to the century-old technique for the designing and printing of newspapers and magazines, which remained the main approach until the development of computer software in 1990s. Today is also commemorated as National Skilled Trades Day in US. National Skills Trade Day is observed annually on the first Wednesday in May. It was established in 2019 by City Mission Technologies in Youngstown, Ohio, to raise awareness about the value of skilled trade workforce in the United States and honor skilled trade workers. Today is also commemorated as National Tourism Day in US on May 7th, which is observed during National Travel and Tourism Week in the US, which occurs every first full week of May. National Travel and Tourism Week was first established in May 1983 as President Ronald Reagan signed a proclamation urging all citizens to observe this week. Today is also commemorated as Occupational Safety and Health Professionals Day in US. Occupational Safety and Health Professionals Day is chosen on the Wednesday of the first full week of May, which coincides with May 7th this year. It is observed during the North American Occupation Safety and Health Week. It is a day to recognize the dedication and efforts of health and safety professionals who protect the people and work environment from damage and hazards. Industrial jobs are one obvious example where a dedicated occupational safety and health professional is needed. When we work with heavy machinery that can move at high speed, disaster is always a step away, and it's always better. Safe than sorry. A safety failure is not something that will affect a single individual, but also the entire plant or the area where the factory is situated. Hence, a better generation of safety and health professionals are trained and ready for any situation that may arise. However, safety remains a collective responsibility. All employees are part of greater mission of health and safety. Today is also commemorated as School Nurse Day in US, which is observed on Wednesday during National Nurses Week in May every year and takes place on May 7th this year. It's a day when we come together as a nation to honor the field of school nursing. This event honors the daily efforts of school nurses to ensure all students' well-being, safety, and academic ability. On October 1, 1902, the first school nurse, Linda Richards, was employed to prevent absenteeism by consulting with kids and families regarding healthcare requirements related to infectious diseases. She led the adaptation of evidence-based nursing practice across the city after a month of elective nursing operations in New York City. Schools, since then, school nurses have continued to control infectious diseases, but their function has grown and become more diverse. So with this, we shall end today's commemorations. And today we are also celebrating Rabindranath Tagore's birthday, Jayanti. So Rabindranath Thakur, or anglicized as Rabindranath Tagore, was a Bengali polymath who worked as a poet, writer, playwright, composer, philosopher, social reformer, and painter of the Bengal Renaissance. He reshaped Bengali literature and music as well as Indian art with contextual modernism in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. He was the author of profoundly sensitive, fresh, and beautiful poetry of Gitanjali in 1930. Tagore became the first non-European to win a Nobel Prize in any category, and also the first lyricist to win the Nobel Prize in Literature. Tagore's poetic songs were viewed as spiritual and mercurial, where his elegant prose and magical poetry were widely used, popular in Indian subcontinent. So he was a fellow of Royal Asiatic Society, referred to the Bard of Bengal. Tagore was known by sobriquets Gurdev, Gobi Guru, and Biswakop, a Bengali Brahmin from Calcutta with ancestral gentry roots in Gurwadan district and Jessore. Tagore wrote poetry as an 80-year-old. At the age of 16, he released his first substantial poems under the pseudonym Bhanusmita, that is Sun Lion, Bhanusimha, which were seized upon by literary authorities as long-last classics. By 1877, he graduated to his first short stories and dramas published under real name as a humanist, universalist, and internationalist and ardent critic of nationalism. He denounced the British Raj and advocated independence from Britain. As an exponent of the Bengal Renaissance, he advocated a vast canon that comprised paintings, sketches, and doodles, hundreds of texts, and some 2,000 songs. His legacy also endures in his founding of Vishwa Bharati. Tagore modernized Bengal art by spurning rigid classical forms and resisting linguistic structures. His novels, stories, songs, dance, and dramas essays spoke to the political and personal. Gitanjali song offerings, Gora, Fair-Faced, and Garebere, The Home and the World, are his best known works, and his first short stories and novels were acclaimed or panned for their lyricism, colloquialism, naturalism, and unnatural contemplation. His compositions were chosen by two nations as national anthems, India's Janaganamana and Bangladesh Amar Sohar Bangla. The Sri Lankan's national anthem was also inspired by his work. His song, Banglar Mati, Banglar Joi, has been adopted as the state anthem of West Bengal. So, with this, we shall conclude today's commemoration. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today's sessions. See you all tomorrow at the same time with the same link with different commemoration. Take care. Good night. Before leaving, we request everyone to quickly fill up the feedback form